So, when you think about the electric vehicle revolution, what are the first few names that pop into your head? The big ones, right? Well, today, we're going to look past the shiny car brands to find the real, kind of hidden engine that's powering this whole transformation. And trust me, it's a story most people have completely missed.
Okay, let's just rewind the clock a few years. Do you remember the absolute frenzy around EV stocks? It was crazy. It felt like every single news channel, every investing forum was just buzzing with this one single question. Who's going to be the next giant in the electric vehicle space? You could literally feel the excitement.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with that initial EV gold rush, then talk about what happened when all that dust settled. After that, we'll uncover the industry's hidden engine, figure out how to actually spot the companies that are ready for the future, and finally, we'll talk about how you can think about investing through all the noise out there.
So just try to picture the market, say 4 years ago. The feeling on Wall Street, and really everywhere else, was absolutely crystal clear. Electric vehicles weren't just some new trend, no, they were the next massive transformation. The only real question was how much money was about to be made.
And the story was just so simple and powerful. I mean, if a company had anything to do with EVs, even a tiny connection, it was seen as a potential lottery ticket. Everyone believed this shift in technology was going to create this huge new wave of wealth, and nobody, and I mean nobody, wanted to get left behind. Okay, now let's fast forward to today. That initial excitement, that euphoria, it's kind of given way to a much more, well, a more complex reality. The story isn't as simple as just buy anything with EV in the name anymore. It's a whole lot more nuanced now. And this right here is where the story really pivots. Back then, the thinking was that any stock related to EVs was a guaranteed win. Today, not so much. But don't get me wrong, the transformation is absolutely still happening. There are more EVs on the road than ever before. It's just that the crazy, indiscriminate hype around all the stocks has definitely cooled off.
So, if the big, obvious car brands aren't the clear-cut winners they once seemed to be, where is the real opportunity? Well, it helps to think about it like an old-school gold rush. You know, the biggest fortunes weren't always made by the folks digging for gold. A lot of times, it was the people selling the picks and shovels. We need to find the picks and shovels of the EV world.
And that brings us to this term, the auto ancillary sector. So what is that? These are the companies that make all the crucial components. We're talking about everything that goes into building a car. For EVs, that means advanced battery systems, power electronics, all the lightweight parts that are just essential. They are literally the backbone of the entire auto industry.
Now this is the key insight. This is the part that so many people missed. While all of our eyes were on the splashy car launches and the shiny new models, a much quieter, and you could argue a more important transformation was happening behind the scenes. It was the parts suppliers, these auto ancillary companies, who were in the trenches, retooling their factories and innovating for a completely new world.
But, and this is a big but, not all of these suppliers have actually made that leap successfully. A massive change like this always creates a huge divide, right? You've got the leaders who adapt and thrive, and then you have the laggards who just get left behind. You know, if you really survey the whole landscape, you'll find a field of about 25 major auto ancillary companies, and all of them are publicly saying, yeah, we're ready for the EV future. It's a really crowded and competitive space, and let's be honest, they can't all be winners.
But this is where it gets interesting. Once you start to filter that list down, you look for things like serious investment in new EV-specific tech, a clear plan to move away from old combustion engine parts, and a strong enough bank account to handle the transition, well, that big number shrinks a lot. The analysis suggests that out of those 25, there's a select group of maybe just 8 companies that are truly in a position to lead. They've already made the right moves, and they're way ahead of the curve.
Okay, so we've found this potential area of opportunity. That's great. But the big question that's left is, how does an investor even begin to approach this, especially given how challenging the market is today? I mean, let's be real. It is not an easy time to be feeling optimistic. The overall market sentiment is pretty bearish, right? There's constant uncertainty from things like tariff wars, and we are just getting bombarded with noise and volatility 24/7. It makes it really tough to think long-term.
But this is where a core investing philosophy really becomes so important. It's this idea that real opportunity is often found when you're willing to be a contrarian, when you have the discipline, as the saying goes, to buy when others cry. In other words, all that market fear and volatility, it can actually be a gift for investors who've done their homework and can see past the immediate chaos.
So, as we wrap this up, here's the main takeaway. That initial frothy hype around EVs, it might be over. But the fundamental, nuts and bolts transformation of the entire auto industry, that's really just getting started. So the question now isn't about which brand has the slickest marketing. It's about who is actually building the future. The question is, who will you be watching?